How goes the family? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Today we're basically going to have a subject matter that I'm going to talk about that I've never really done before. And it's about a movie called Dolomite Is My Name, starring Eddie Murphy, Mike Epps, various other characters, T.I., Snoop Dogg, etc. and so forth. Now, this movie has hit the charts, and the amount of viewers on Netflix have went through the roof, I being one of them. I have always been a fan of Eddie Murphy, and definitely I have to say that he did an excellent job playing Rudy Ray Moore, aka Dolomite. And it was great to see him in a movie like this again. This is the first time that I'm actually, like I said, discussing a movie on my YouTube channel, because I do not watch movies like that as much as I used to, because I usually binge on YouTube videos and maybe old shows every now and then, but nothing that's really gonna basically come into the realm of the financial aspect of things and economics of things and things of that nature, But I will have to say, when it boils down to this movie, the story of Dolomite came to be, how Dolomite came to be from Rudy Ray Moore. It's not only interesting, but it speaks to when people go out of their way to bet on themselves and refuse to accept the limits that society puts on you, because I think that's what the problem you have. I always quote Master P. He quoted his grandfather. He says, the only limit on this life you have is yourself. There's no limit to what you can do in this life. And I think people always get stagnated a lot of times when it comes to life and getting stuck in a routine and stuck in a rut. Next thing you know, 30 years have passed by, and they're like, where did their life go? So that's why you always gotta go against the grain, my personal opinion. Rudy Ray Moore's life resembles basically a singer, comedian, and actor, and it proves just that. I did not know much about his actual life story until I did, watch the movie itself. And then obviously I did my own little research all at the same time. So let's get into it. Rudy Ray Moore's life story. Let's get into it. He was born on March 17, 1927 in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Rudolph Frank Moore started singing in church before winning a talent contest in Cleveland, where he moved when he was 15 years old. Now, I laugh because I've met various people from Arkansas. I'm not saying I'm bad about Arkansas, but everyone I've ever met from Arkansas usually say they're never going back to Arkansas because they're not feeling the lifestyle there. And that's how it was in Rudy Ray Moore's life all at the same time. And actually, in Rudy Ray Moore's teens, he was singing and dancing in African-American bars they called them back then black and tan clubs, which often had a showcasing sexy dancers and raunchy comedians, And Mr. Moore was drafted in the military in 1950 and served as part of the military's entertainment unit in Germany, which makes sense. He was getting let's just put it, that international experience, And thank you for your service, young man, even though he's no longer with us, unfortunately. He sang country songs in an R&B style, and the group was called like the Harlem Hillbilly. That's what he was known for. And like most struggling actors and actresses, he ended up moving to Los Angeles, but he ended up at least he had a job working at a record store called Dolphins of Hollywood. And he wasn't having any luck trying to get an acting gig or singing, get his records played or anything of that nature. So Mr. Moore looked everywhere for inspiration. And that's what you have to do a lot of times. We all have our moments. You have to look for inspiration that's just going to give you that fire that you need to just spark the imagination, spark your career, or spark your business off to where you want it to go. And until and the crazy thing is, inspiration actually happened to walk into the door in 1970. A regular customer named Rocco would charge a few dollars to tell stories about the outrageous pimp named Dolomite, derived from the mineral dolomite in rhyme. Mr. Moore was so amused by the tales that he actually invited Rocco over, and he recorded some of his stories, which turned into stand-up comedy routines. And then this is one thing that the movie did a great job of truly capturing Mr. Moore's lifestyle and sentiments of how he was actually feeling at the time in life. That's one thing I give credit where credit is due, because all of us, excuse me, who are going after our goals and aspirations in life have good days and have bad days, because we are all human. And one thing that I can say with sincerity is that this movie really captured how Rudy Ray Moore's life was and how life can be, period. Especially when you have people around you that keep telling you to be happy with what you have, forget about your dreams, just have a job and work it and just be thankful, and that's that. But Mr. Moore, aka Dolomite, because that's what they kept telling him in his movie at the same time, went against the grain and showed the world that he wasn't too old to go after his dreams. Now this is where my favorite part of talking about this movie comes into play, the financial aspects of things, which is the main reason why I'm talking about this movie. Now, not only did Mr. Moore get his inspiration from some winos, there was more than one, but he bought them alcohol and used his own money to give to them as well, to record them and listen to their stories and all that good stuff. It was like, favor for a favor, quid pro quo, all that good stuff. He recorded them all at the same time, and then he just kind of turned the act into his own thing and whatnot. So, it was actually interesting. Oh, want to say hello? Got my dog with me. She's like, yo, I want to be in the video. So anyways, another thing is that he utilized those stories from all the winos around the corner and created his own stand-up routine, making him a local Los Angeles success. He went locally and then he tried to go nationally. That was a process of him betting on himself and investing in himself. And that's what you have to do. You have to bet on yourself and then constantly invest in yourself. Our lives are like the stock market. It goes up, it goes down, but when you find the right stock, it could take off in a New York minute. You just never know. The funny thing is that I didn't even realize that Rudy Ray Moore applied the simple, priceless principles of wealth when it came to really jump-starting his national career. And that's what we're going to get into now. Now, what's the other financial power move that he made? It was he got a small loan from his family member, which that's the beautiful thing about having family that believes in you, and recorded a comedy album in his own place. Okay, had his own party, and that's what I respect so much about the 50s and 60s and 70s generation. Like, people supported each other back then. People, they really looked out for one another compared to nowadays, especially in the African American community. There wasn't all this "I'm better than you" nonsense like that, like it is now. There was cohesiveness. There was people working together, and that's how they were able to create these things like this. It didn't just happen by sheer luck. There was a team effort, and that's another thing that the movie did a great job, showing the team effort, what it took for Rudy Ray Moore to become Dolomite. Love that. Okay, just had to go off on that tangent. Now, this is, like I said, one of the crazy things is this is how the character of Dolomite came into existence and helped increase Rudy Ray Moore's income, in which, remember, it increased his income, in which nationalized his career, put his act on the road, which increased his earning potential. He was going from city to city and state to state, especially all over the South. Last but definitely not least, he got with the right people to pursue his dream of becoming a movie star and started to ship his ideas of creating an action-packed comedy movie. He was constantly rejected by other studios in Hollywood, California, so he did the entrepreneurial thing. I say it again, he did the entrepreneurial thing by going to the local African-American screenplay theater and partnering with a screenplay writer to write his Dolomite movie. Got his friend who worked on the records, one of his friends that worked at the record store to work on the budget side of the house to make sure that the money was put together. His other friend, who was a songwriter and a singer, a professional singer, he got that gentleman involved, and then he got a famous actor involved to be in the movie and to help direct the movie. So this was a smart thing that an entrepreneur that he did. And this is what smart entrepreneurs do, period. Okay, they get the people who are knowledgeable in areas that they're not knowledgeable in so that they can connect the dots to create an awesome product. Mark Cuban, Russell Simmons, Brian Allen, Damon Johns, Damon Dash, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, the Warren Buffett, they all self-made millionaires, but they didn't do it all by themselves. That's what people forget. Having the wrong people around you can really hurt your success in life. People just don't realize it. Rudy Ray Moore continuously got loans from his promotion company that he worked for to finish the movie. So he was up to his ears in debt. Remember that. He really betted on himself. He was up to his ears in debt. Even when the movie was done, Mr. Moore couldn't get a film company to buy it so that it would get played across the country. But while Rudy Ray Moore was devastated and almost ready to give up on the whole Dolomite movie, and he felt like he was working for nothing at the time as well, he caught a break. by a radio disc jockey within a specific area that was trying to help him promote the movie. Goes back to having the right friends, co-workers, people who really want to support you and see you succeed. Promote the movie, and contacted his cousin who managed the local movie theater to play the Dolomite movie. Of course, the catch is that Mr. Moore had to pay a fee to even play the movie, which ended up selling out the city. The deal was all of the ticket sales went to him, which tripled this investment. It just tripled on his investment. His investment compounded interest within one night. Okay, he had to pay a specific fee to have the movie theater, but then the place sold out multiple times, so he got triple his money back. That's the beautiful thing of being an entrepreneur and continuously betting on yourself and continuously investing in yourself from a financial aspect. A lot of people invest in themselves when it comes to education, but they do not invest in themselves enough when it comes to the money. And that's just my little personal tangent on it. Now, this ultimately caught the attention of a major movie production company in Hollywood, California, that ultimately bought Rudy Ray Moore's movie, and he ended up making 7 more movies, adding to his success. Moral of this great financial story is, never be scared to bet on yourself, bet on your family. It could truly change your life. And if you have not seen the movie Dolomite Is My Name, if you want a good laugh and a good financial education, then my personal opinion is, please check it out. Because at the end of the day, if Rudy Ray Moore would have never bet on himself, he would have never became Dolomite, the sensation that he was. That's something to remember, okay? And on that note, remember this: you can't get fired if you don't own the company. If you own the company, and Rudy Ray Moore owned his company. So, take care. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up. Definitely share. Check out my online store. Thank you for those out there that have been buying the smartwatches from my online store. Thank you for all your support. The sales mean a lot. Thank you for supporting the financial intelligence movement. Let's get it done. 2020 is here. Let's move forward. Hopefully you guys have a great day. Take care.